Hey everyone. So something is keeping them awake at night, and it has everything to do with you. Right now, in this very moment, there might be someone holding their phone, typing and deleting messages they're too afraid to send. Your name could be sitting heavy on their heart, wrapped in words they don't know how to say. And what I'm sensing is that the silence between you isn't empty at all. It's filled with everything they're not saying. If you've been feeling their energy pulling at you, if you've been wondering why they haven't reached out when you can almost feel that they want to, you're not imagining it. Let me walk you through what might actually be happening beneath the surface of this silence. There's a strong possibility that this person has been replaying memories of you more than you realize, not just the big moments, but the small ones too. The way you laughed at something that wasn't even that funny, the way you understood them without them having to explain, the comfort they felt in your presence that they've been searching for everywhere else and can't seem to find. What I'm picking up on is that they may have convinced themselves that walking away was the right choice at the time. Maybe they needed space. Maybe they were overwhelmed by their own emotions. Maybe they thought distance would make things clearer, easier, less complicated. But distance might be teaching them something they didn't expect. It could be showing them exactly what they lost. And that realization might be hitting them harder than they're willing to admit, even to themselves. Here's what's important to understand. Just because someone misses you doesn't mean they know how to come back. Just because they want to talk doesn't mean they feel ready or worthy or brave enough to actually do it. They might be carrying guilt about how things ended, shame about things they said or didn't say, fear that too much time has passed, that you've moved on, that they've burned a bridge they can't rebuild. So they wait, they watch, they wonder, and they stay silent, even though the silence is probably costing them more than they anticipated. If you've been sensing their energy even in the silence. Now, let me go deeper into what might be stopping them from reaching out, because this is where the emotional complexity really lives. Pride could be playing a significant role here. If this person was the one who created distance, who ended things, who pulled away first, they might feel like reaching out now would be admitting they were wrong. And for some people, that admission feels impossible, even when their heart is screaming at them to swallow their ego and just make contact. There's also a possibility that they're dealing with their own internal battles right now. Things in their life that have nothing to do with you, but that are consuming their energy and making them feel like they're not in a place to offer you what you deserve. They might be thinking, I miss them so much, but I'm still the same person who couldn't show up before. What's different now? And here's the thing, they might actually be changing. This time apart could be forcing them to confront patterns they've been avoiding, to look at the ways they sabotage connection, to recognize what they took for granted when they had it. But transformation is slow, it's messy, it doesn't happen on anyone's timeline, and it certainly doesn't announce itself with clarity and confidence. So they might be in that uncomfortable in between space where they know they're not who they were, but they don't fully trust who they're becoming yet. And from that space, reaching out might feel premature, risky, or unfair to you. What I'm sensing is that their silence isn't necessarily a reflection of how much you mean to them. It could actually be a reflection of how much you mean to them. They might care so deeply that they're paralyzed by the fear of doing it wrong, saying the wrong thing, or making things worse. Does that make it easier for you? Not necessarily. You're still here feeling the weight of their absence, wondering if you even crossed their mind. But understanding the complexity of what might be happening for them could help you make sense of the confusing energy you've been picking up on. Let me also talk about the specific ways they might be missing you, because I think this will resonate. It's possible they miss you most in the quiet moments, when they're alone with their thoughts and there's no distraction to keep them from feeling the empty space where you used to be. Late at night when they're scrolling through their phone with no one to talk to who understands them the way you did. In the morning when they wake up and remember you're not part of their daily life anymore. They might miss the version of themselves they were with you. The lighter, softer, more open version that you somehow brought out in them. They could be noticing that they don't laugh the same way with other people, that conversations feel surface level and unsatisfying, that no one else seems to get their humor or their references or the things that matter to them. There's also a chance they miss the future they imagined with you. Not necessarily a concrete plan, but the feeling of possibility, the sense that you were building towards something together, that comfort of knowing someone was in their corner, rooting for them, believing in them. And now that you're not there, they might be realizing how rare that kind of connection actually is, how much they underestimated what they had, how foolish they were to think they could find it easily with someone else, or that it wasn't worth fighting for. But here's where I need to be really honest with you about something. Even if all of this is true, even if they miss you desperately, think about you constantly, and want nothing more than to talk to you again, that doesn't automatically mean reaching out is the right move for them or for you. Because missing someone and being ready to show up for them are two different things. Comment truth if you're ready to hear what you need, not just what you want. Let's talk about what you might be feeling in all of this, because your experience matters just as much as theirs. You might be caught between hope and frustration. Part of you wants them to reach out so badly. You might be checking your phone more than you'd like to admit, looking for their name, wondering if that notification could be them, feeling a small sting of disappointment every time it's not. Another part of you might be angry, frustrated that they get to be in control of the timing, resentful that you're here, waiting, wondering, analyzing, while they're apparently comfortable with the silence. Maybe even questioning your own worth, because if they really cared, wouldn't they just reach out already? And then there's probably a part of you that's scared that if they do reach out, you'll fold too easily, that you'll accept breadcrumbs when you deserve a full meal, that you'll fall right back into old patterns because you miss them too and you're tired of being strong. All of these feelings are valid. You don't have to choose one or make sense of the contradictions. You can hold all of it at once. What I'm picking up on is that this situation might be asking you to get really clear on what you actually want, not just what feels comfortable or familiar. Do you want them back exactly as they were? Or do you want them back transformed, healed, ready to show up differently? Do you want closure and clarity? Or are you holding on to hope that things could still work out? Do you want to be chosen actively and enthusiastically? Or are you willing to accept someone who's hesitant, uncertain, still figuring things out? These aren't easy questions, and you don't have to answer them right now. But sitting with them might help you understand what you're actually available for if and when they do make contact. Because here's what I'm sensing very strongly. You deserve someone who doesn't just miss you in private. You deserve someone who's willing to be brave enough to tell you, to show up, to have the hard conversations, to do the work. Missing you quietly while doing nothing about it might feel romantic, in theory. But in practice, it's just absence. And absence, no matter how emotionally charged, doesn't build the kind of connection you're worthy of experiencing. Now, let me touch on the possibility that they might actually reach out soon, because the energy around this feels like it could be building towards something. If they've been wrestling with this internally for a while, They might be approaching a breaking point, a moment where the discomfort of staying silent becomes greater than the fear of reaching out, where the longing overrides the pride, where they finally decide that the risk of rejection is worth it if there's even a chance you might respond. This could come in different forms, maybe a simple text that seems casual but is actually loaded with meaning, an unexpected like or comment on something you posted, a message from a mutual friend that feels a little too coincidental, or even a direct, vulnerable confession that catches you completely off guard. If this happens, you might feel a rush of different emotions all at once: relief, validation, anger, confusion, joy, anxiety. And in that moment, I want you to remember something crucial. You don't owe them an immediate response. You don't owe them forgiveness just because they finally found the courage to speak. You don't owe them a second chance just because they miss you. You get to take your time to feel your feelings, to assess whether their words match their actions, to decide what you're actually available for based on who they're showing up as now, not who you hope they could become. It's possible that this could be the beginning of something beautiful and healed between you, a conversation that leads to real understanding, a reconnection built on growth rather than nostalgia. A relationship that's stronger because it was tested and chosen, again, consciously. But it's also possible that talking might just confirm that the distance was necessary, that you've both changed in ways that no longer align, that the love is still there, but the compatibility isn't. That sometimes missing someone isn't enough to make things work. Either outcome is okay, either path is valid. You don't have to know which one it will be right now. Drop A if you're learning to trust your own timing. Let me also address something about the energy of waiting, because I think this is where a lot of people get stuck. Waiting for someone to reach out can feel like putting your life on hold. Like you can't fully move forward because part of you is still tethered to this unresolved connection, still hoping, still wondering, still leaving the door cracked open just in case. And I want to gently remind you that you can honor what you shared with this person while also continuing to live your life fully. These things aren't mutually exclusive. You can miss them and still go out with friends. You can hope they reach out and still go on dates with other people if you want to. You can hold space for the possibility of reconnection while also building a beautiful life that doesn't depend on them choosing you. Because here's what I'm picking up on. The strongest position you can be in if they do reach out is a position where you're genuinely okay either way, where you're not waiting for them to validate you or complete you or fix what feels broken, where you're whole on your own and they would simply be an addition, not a solution. That's the energy that often actually draws people back. Not desperation, not neediness, not frozen waiting, but aliveness, growth, self-possession. The sense that you know your worth and you're not willing to settle for less than you deserve. So if you've been waiting, maybe this is your invitation to shift the energy, not to stop caring or to force yourself to move on before you're ready, but to redirect some of that emotional energy back towards yourself, to invest in your own healing, your own growth, your own joy, your own dreams and goals, and the life you want to create, regardless of whether they're in it, because whether they come back or not, you'll still be here, you'll still have yourself, and that relationship, the one with yourself, is the foundation everything else is built on. Now, as we start to move toward closing, I want to talk about divine timing and trust, because I think this is relevant to your situation. There's a possibility that the timing of everything, the silence, the distance, the waiting, is actually serving a purpose you can't see yet. Maybe you both needed this time apart to grow individually, to learn lessons you couldn't learn together, to break patterns that were keeping you stuck. Maybe the version of you that existed before the separation wouldn't have been ready for the kind of relationship you actually want. Maybe the version of them that walked away wasn't capable of showing up the way you needed. And maybe this time is refining both of you, preparing you for something deeper, more authentic, more sustainable if you do come back together, or preparing you to recognize that you're meant for different paths and giving you the strength to accept that with grace. You don't have to believe in fate or destiny or cosmic orchestration to consider that there might be wisdom in the way things are unfolding, even when it's painful. What if the wait is teaching you patience? What if the silence is teaching you to listen to yourself? What if the uncertainty is teaching you to trust your own knowing, even when you don't have all the answers? These aren't easy lessons. They don't feel good while you're learning them, but they might be exactly what you need for whatever comes next, with this person or with someone else entirely. I'm not saying you should bypass your pain or spiritually bypass the very real hurt of being missed in secret but not pursued openly. Your feelings about this situation are completely valid, and you don't need to find a silver lining if you're not ready. But if you can hold both the disappointment and the trust, the hurt and the hope, the grief and the growth, you might find that you're more resilient than you knew, more powerful, more clear about what you will and won't accept moving forward. Comment ready if you're choosing yourself while staying open to possibility. Let me leave you with some final thoughts to carry with you as you navigate this. If they reach out, meet them with honesty, not performance. Don't pretend you weren't affected. Don't act like their silence didn't hurt. But also don't punish them if they're genuinely trying to make amends. Hold them accountable while also staying open to hearing them. If they don't reach out, know that their silence is information too. It's telling you that whatever they're dealing with is bigger than their desire to reconnect right now. And while that's painful, it's also clarifying. It's showing you that you can't force readiness in another person, no matter how much you want to. Either way, your job isn't to manage their feelings, predict their moves, or make it easier for them to choose you. Your job is to honor yourself, protect your peace, and stay connected to what you know you deserve. You deserve to be missed out loud, not just in secret. You deserve conversations, not just crickets. You deserve someone who's willing to be uncomfortable, vulnerable, and brave for the chance to be in your life. And if this person can't be that for you right now, it doesn't diminish what you shared. It doesn't mean you weren't important. It just means that sometimes love isn't enough without courage, timing, and readiness aligning. Trust that what's meant for you will find its way, and what's not meant for you will reveal itself through absence, even when that absence is wrapped in longing and regret. You are so deeply worthy of being chosen clearly and consistently, not halfway, not secretly, not eventually, right now, fully, bravely. And whether that comes from this person or someone else, I hope you never settle for less than that kind of wholehearted presence. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Trust your inner wisdom above all else. May you find clarity in the confusion. May you find strength in the waiting. And may you find peace in knowing that you are never, ever walking this path alone. You are seen, you are valued, and you are worthy of every beautiful thing your heart has been hoping for. Trust the process, honor your journey, and remember that your happiness doesn't depend on anyone reaching out. It depends on you choosing yourself again and again, no matter what anyone else decides to do. Hold your head high, keep your heart open but protected, and know that whatever happens next, you're going to be okay, more than okay. You're going to be exactly where you need to be.